It was already dark when the final bell rang at St. Augustine High, and most students had gone home. Anaya was still in the art room, putting the finishing touches on her project, when she realized her folder was in her locker. The school hallways always felt strange after sunset, too quiet, like the building was holding its breath. She walked alone, her sneakers squeaking faintly on the polished floor. The overhead lights hummed, and some flickered just enough to make shadows move where they shouldn't. As she approached her locker, a faint sound broke the silence, a whisper. It was so soft she thought she imagined it. Then it came again, clearer this time, whispering her name. Heart racing, she leaned in, pressing her ear against the cold metal. The voice was definitely coming from inside. She fumbled with the lock, hands shaking, and swung the door open. Nothing, only her folder and a folded piece of paper she didn't remember putting there. In neat handwriting, it read, "Don't look behind you!" Her breath caught. She stood frozen, her mind screaming not to turn around, but curiosity overpowered her fear. Slowly, she turned her head. The hallway seemed darker than before, and at the far end stood a tall, thin silhouette, completely still, head slightly tilted. The fluorescent light above it flickered, and for a split second, it looked closer. She blinked, and it was definitely closer now, its limbs too long to be human. Panic surged through her. She slammed the locker shut and ran, the whispering now coming from all directions, overlapping, growing louder, as if hundreds of unseen mouths were chanting her name. She didn't stop until she was outside in the cold night air. Gasping, she looked back through the glass entrance doors. Nothing. The hallway was empty again. The next morning, she tried to convince herself it was just her imagination. But when she returned to her locker, a new note was waiting inside. This one read, "You forgot to say goodbye." Everyone at Central Valley School knew about the old wing, the one closed after a fire gutted half the classrooms years ago. It was off limits now, but the rumors were stronger than the locks. Students whispered about a girls' bathroom in that wing that somehow survived untouched by the fire, and about a mirror inside that was wrong. Mina had heard the stories, and never one to back down from a dare, convinced her two friends to go explore after their club meeting. They waited until most of the lights in the main building were shut off, then slipped into the old wing through a door with a broken lock. The air inside was thick with the smell of soot and decay, and their flashlights illuminated peeling paint and charred walls. The bathroom door creaked open on its own when Mina touched it. Inside, everything was coated in dust, except the mirror above the sinks. It was spotless, gleaming, as if freshly cleaned. Mina stepped forward, grinning nervously, and decided to test the legend. Staring into her reflection, she whispered her own name 3 times. At first, nothing happened. Her friends giggled behind her, but then the room grew colder. Her reflection began to smile, but Mina wasn't smiling. The grin spread wider, stretching unnaturally, revealing too many sharp, glistening teeth. Behind her reflection stood a shadow, tall and formless, with long fingers curling over her shoulders. Mina spun around. No one was there. Her friends screamed, and she whipped her head back toward the mirror. Her reflection was gone entirely, replaced by the shadow figure staring back at her. One of her friends dropped the flashlight, plunging the room into near darkness. In the pitch black, the mirror's surface began to ripple like water, and slow, heavy breathing filled the air. Mina's hand, shaking uncontrollably, reached out toward the glass, only for a pale, clawed hand to reach out from inside and grab her wrist. She screamed. yanking herself free, and the three of them bolted. From the bathroom, without looking back. Mina never spoke of what happened, but she stopped walking past mirrors completely. And those who did catch her reflection in passing swore they saw her reflection smile when she didn't. The legend of Room 2B was well known among students. Stay inside it past 3 a.m. and you'll never leave. Faisal didn't believe in ghost stories, but he did believe in views and subscribers for his YouTube channel. So, after the late-night school play, he hid in the janitor's closet until everyone left, then snuck into Room 2B with his camera. He set it on the teacher's desk, facing the room, determined to capture an entire night there. For hours. Nothing happened, just the ticking clock on the wall, the occasional creak of the floorboards. At 2:50 a.m., the air grew icy cold, his breath fogging in front of him. He joked into the camera, trying to mask his nerves. Then, at exactly 3 a.m., the classroom door creaked open on its own. Faisal chuckled uneasily, but his voice faltered when the desks began to shift, slowly scraping across the floor, then violently rearranging themselves, as if shoved by invisible hands. Chalk on the blackboard lifted and began writing by itself, "Get out." He grabbed his phone and ran for the door. But when he stepped into the hallway, he found himself back in Room 2B. Panic set in. He tried another door. Same result. Each time he exited, he re-entered the same classroom, only darker than before. On his fourth attempt, the desks were gone. Instead, shadowy figures sat where his classmates would normally be, their heads bowed. As he stepped closer, they all turned toward him in perfect unison, their eyes glowing faintly. The one in the front row whispered, "We've been waiting." His phone fell from his hand, capturing the moment the shadows rose from their seats and surrounded him. The footage ends there. The next morning, the classroom was found empty and locked, his camera gone. Teachers say Room 2B is permanently sealed now, but students claim that if you walk by late at night,